So next in our program, I would like to invite Joseph FARR from BCharity. So he's wearing many hats in a BCharity organization. He's going to tell about that, and he's going to be talking about blockchain and sustainable growth. And BCharity is giving away money for the bounties bug bounties for this hackathon, and Joseph is going to be talking about that too a little bit. I guess so. Let me invite Joseph. Just a second. Let me just invite him to the stage. And, okay, Joseph, I think you now be able to unmute yourself and start the video. Yes, there you go. Okay. Hello.
Hello. Very nervous. I'm Joseph FARR, Global Director, and I guess now co-founder of BCharity. I joined in very early on when we launched our farm, or they launched their farm on Polygon. There, I was skimming through VFAT tools and just kind of seeing what new things had launched out, and I come across their DApp and started talking to the director and the students, and it was I was just fascinated with how they got to where they were, and the initiative they were, kicking off through that program. What started through ECSSEN. I'm gonna say that wrong, but you started off with a summer's job program where you're going to just teach and educate people about blockchain, how to launch their own applications, and it's kind of just turned into something a little more, and with that has been allowed to dream a little bigger and see beyond just that summer work program and that farm. And we got to talking about how to integrate charities, just different ways to use blockchain technology that aren't necessarily about this financial speculation and this whole crazy volatile market that we're dealing with. It's about stepping back and taking a look at all the technologies present that are the myriad of projects that are open source, which is, that is very crucial. Open source is, in my opinion, is something that is a must when it comes to truly moving forward. Trust is, I think, a major issue, obviously, within the space, and it's creating blockchain networks that can be relied upon to where governments can safely integrate into them. I don't know that it becomes, you start talking about all this, it becomes very lofty goals, but then I'm a point A to point B, like what are the baby steps that it's going to take to really do this? How do you bridge the gap between this DeFi, hyper development, 8 degen yield farm world and this governmental regulation panic that's going on? And it's because we don't need to thwart the development that's happening. We need to enable it. If we need to, I don't know, something that's been echoing in my mind lately is with all this regulation that's happening in the United States, or the SEC threatening this and that. It's just, if you want to regulate blockchain, then why not build your own? And, if the government wants to step in and have a say over a blockchain, then maybe they should build their own and use it and install it into their infrastructure and learn how to generate yield and things of that nature, and maybe rely less upon the backs of taxpayers. I don't know, there's a lot of ideas that are there, but what are there's so much of our infrastructure in just the United States that could be replaced with blockchain technology and probably be more efficient. Our democracy, how we vote, just so many aspects, and so many man hours are wasted trying to solve problems. And that's what blockchain is it's problem solving. It's we're trying to find new, better solutions that don't require so much expended energy to solve. If you can keep, if you're able to delegate the whole entire process, smart contract. Hello? Oh, but yes. Okay, I'm going to keep going. If you're able to delegate the entire process to a smart contract, that takes the trust issues out. Something, I had a brain issue here. There are many industries that are missing out, I believe, on, I guess, utilizing this technology due to the fear of, I don't know. I think people are afraid that once we get all everything on blockchain, something's going to happen and everything's going to be lost in the vacuum of space. And I think that comes from a gross misunderstanding of blockchain. And the more we build out these networks and different various blockchains and relay chains and parachains and layers, the more secure this all becomes, and the more people, they don't. When crypto was launched, we structured it much like a stock market, and it was done through centralized exchanges and order books, and but something we've begun to realize when we've developed these DeFi ecosystems in the last year or two is the elasticity of the entire market and how everything needs each other to function. Arguably Bitcoin would not be worth what it is today if it were not paired so deeply with Ethereum on the market, if it were not paired so deeply with all these other altcoins. And you have to, the vast ecosystem that's developing, that's just the financial aspect. And it's the speculative aspect of what is blockchain, what is it worth to everyone. And I think when we can get beyond that part of it, we can say, well, obviously it's valuable, but what can we do with it? What problems can we solve? How can we, change people's lives? And I've been watching some UN speeches about they want to put smartphones, devices, and wallets in the hands of everyone. Well, let's do that. Let's educate people on how to use these tools and change their lives. And, I was talking with the director last night or the other day. We were discussing how do we build a blockchain and integrate UBI into the system? And he's like, that's a great idea, but even better, how do we change the healthcare industry? How do we create a tokenized smart contract health insurance that has nothing to do with pre-existing conditions? And that just sounded wild to me, when it first hit me. But as I've sat there and thought it over, I'm like, that could be done. It's not impossible. And that's the important part about this, is not hindering that kind of development, not thwarting that process through archaic laws and misunderstandings of what is actually happening. It's DeFi is so young. We started, Uniswap, great example, didn't launch Uni V2 until May of last year. And most of everything, most of all these ecosystems and these dexes that are being built out on Polygon and BSC, like it's all, it's that Uni V2 code, and we're so young in this, and we're just now beginning to to really build out these automated market structures, and give it time. And it's, as we went from Ethereum to Polygon, that was or BSC, like you saw this fee reduction happen, and you saw people really begin to experiment with different ways to structure markets and different ways to approach things. And now we have projects developing bridges and routing technology that allows people to move funds from one chain to the other, a lot cheaper than what we're normally used to. And so we know where we're going, but how do we get there? How do we bring this all home? And it's a shame that we're right here at this moment of breakthrough, and then we have this FUD situation step in of threat from regulation, and then it becomes murky. We don't understand, what the laws are and what we can and can't do, and that's hindering the process, and I hate that.
Joseph, I find immensely interesting the fact that you are discussing these relevant issues, and I would like to ask you to tell our audience about how are you enabling your students and your participants to precisely be part of this, because that's what amazed me of the blockchain and of having these tools, that all those deep and relevant issues you are worried about, if you participate in one of these initiatives as the one you lead, you can start to take a part in solving it, or at least in proposing alternatives to make it more inclusive, or to make it work as you wish. And that's something we didn't have access to before the blockchain, and before having these kind of platforms that connect real people to real problems, and gets them together to try to fix what needs fixing. Mm-hmm. So I want you to tell us about the experience you have had with these summer participants of the project, and how it has grown to be what it is right now, which is very impressive. And we are so happy to have you being part of our event.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be a part of this. I've been studying up on Metis, and I've been very excited to just get to know the project and get to know everything that's happening. I'm not a coder myself. I would love to learn, and I'm hoping that I might learn a little bit more. I understand market structures a little bit, but I bring with BCharity, something I've encountered a lot in crypto is what we all know about it is just this greed and speculation, and it's very disheartening to me. And I might sound like a bleeding heart liberal, but like, there are more people on this earth than just myself. I see solutions to problems that are just right here in front of us that we're not taking advantage of because we're too worried about the speculative asset of how much our token is going to be worth at this date. And it doesn't matter. It's all, if we don't do this and build this out and integrate this technology, it's all worthless. Everything we've speculated on is worthless. We've got to I don't know, this is I got a little excited there. we gotta, like, okay, I was watching this in a UN video, and they talked about solving the identification crisis in third world countries, where, getting funds and proper identification to people. And I'm thinking, well, like, we have NFT, open source NFT technology, where we could be issuing people wallets and NFT documentation that they could print out, or they could just have on this wallet, and that are non-transferable. And so it's going to live on that wallet. It's not going to be worth anything to anyone other than the person who owns it. It could be privatized to where only the people that own the wallet or the government that builds the dApp can see it. And also, inside of this wallet could live, or inside of this NFT could live a vault or wallet, which, UBI or, food stamps, EBT, things like that could be directly distributed to. And I don't know how many billions and trillions of dollars that process alone might save governments, but I think they should give it a shot.
Very, very good point, Joseph, that you brought. So that as I said, the regulators and the governments, instead of fighting it, instead of fighting the fight, building something. It's really good point. I never even thought about it that way, but yes, it's very true.
If you want to regulate,
that would be way more productive.
Exactly. About being born and you're issued a NFT Social Security card. You're issued, NFT documents for everything, your birth certificate, everything you have. And in that NFT lives a vaulted wallet, like Koval's open source tech vault, NFT vault wallets that work on all chains. And how do we do that? How do we bring that to the world and make this easy for everyone? And that's where DeFi comes in. If we didn't have this rapid, fast-paced development, we wouldn't see these solutions to these problems being built out.
Exactly. Yes, I understand. So with the water, we're actually throwing away the baby. So by putting the regulations and everything, and fighting it and prohibiting and kicking people off and out. And yes, so this is exactly the point. I hope though that our governments are still, they're smart people and they can see that one day.
Yes.
Yes, and then
but the fantastic thing is that the ideas are out there, and now we have the tools with these platforms to allow people to start proposing these solutions. That's the magic of all the points getting together. So it's like we are in the moment of creation. We are getting people, ideas, and tools together so we can achieve great things by just wishing well and working hard.
Yes. I wanted to ask about, the one thing that stood out to me about Metis is the layer 1, layer 2 security integration, and the way Metis is built. It's different than the way some of these other experimental chains that we've seen have been built, and that's what excites me very much is getting into that process, because as much as I love proof of stake and the proof of authority direction we're going, I also see it as security need to maybe keep layer 1 around a little longer and not just do away with that until we truly solve these security issues, until we create proof of stake networks where tokens that are delegated as nodes are locked or secured, or we have a treasury in place that makes sure that the market or the entire structure of the blockchain stays intact. In the event of, how do we keep people from, or create a proof of stake network that, doesn't get all of the tokens withdrawn within a black swan market event or something, and what happens to a blockchain network if it's all dependent on proof of stake and all the tokens get withdrawn? What happens? does the network fail? I don't know. I'm not a programmer. I'm not a developer. I've not tested this, but it's just something I think about. Like, proof of stake is great, but I feel like we could leave ourselves open to vulnerabilities if we don't do this a little more pragmatically and open sourced and work with projects, not try to, build something that takes everyone away just to their,
just to their chain, just to
yeah.
their road, just to their, yes, exactly, yes. So, well, I strongly believe that the power is in the collaboration, not in the competition. So, and that's what that's what with Metis, that's what we do. We are actually focusing on collaborations, and that's why we created our DAO structure, built-in structure for that as well. And same, we simplified the use of the blockchain by introducing all this just one-click deployments, a policy of one-click smart contracts, so the login in with your username and password instead of the private key, right? So all this, we want to ease the job of like even the governments, right? So we just recently presented to RBC, the Royal Bank of Canada. So they are actually learning right now DeFi via Metis as well. So we're getting there, right? So we're getting there. We're easing the access, the transition from the Web 2 to Web 3, collaborating with the different projects. So yeah, and totally agree with you. We strongly believe in collaboration, not in the competition. And of course, we chose the optimistic rollup as the technology for us because this is right on top of Ethereum, derives from the community, stays still with the layer 1, even though be in layer 2, but stay with the layer 1 very, very closely in terms of security and everything else. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you, Joseph, for the very sincere speech. And honestly, I was actually expecting that you start playing because you have this amazing keyboard right behind you. Are you the musician as well?
Oh, yes. That's my first passion. I didn't start into the blockchain, into things until right before coronavirus hit. And I guess the timing was kind of strange. I had a lot of time on my hands at that point. I lost 3 jobs but yes, music has been my passion for most of my adult life. I mean, if you look me up on Google, you can find my mediocre rock and roll and dubstep music out there.
Awesome. Yeah, because I will have my violin here so we can play together.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah, I keep it handy all the time too, because just in the between the meetings, between the live streams, I have something to do. There you go. Oh yeah.
This is my
awesome. Yes. So cool. Thank you so much, Joseph. And I hope everyone you enjoyed the speech. So just to remind you, so BCharity is actually the project that was born from the student program, summer program that a government runs. And so now it transforms into something else, and now they're doing all kind of tools and for the charity. And actually, they provided 3 prizes. Actually, in total, it will be much more because they have different layers for bug bounty prize. So for those, you can just simply integrate their smart contracts into Metis, and then also find if you have any bugs, bounties, and you can also submit it in the Web3 integration track as well. So, and plus get money on top if you find any bugs in the BCharity. So thank you so much, Joseph, for your speech.